All right, you guys, a little bit of a stream of consciousness post today. I had both a therapy session yesterday and I met with like a business mentor, and so I feel like I kind of got unlocked in a way yesterday, and a handful of things have been coming up, and but one of the things that I want to talk to, and I've like touched on this subject in the past, and people really seem to resonate with it, so I just wanted to bring it up again, and that is that growing up, I felt like a stupid person. I felt like a really stupid kid, primarily because I didn't do well in school. I had a really hard time paying attention, and my grades were down. And anyway, I did poorly. I got asked to leave several schools because I couldn't keep up a grade point average. And so that also did not help me feel like a smart person. Every time a school asked me to leave, then I felt dumber and dumber. And I also felt like I couldn't get it. Like the teachers all said, to like classic Gen Xer line, they would say to me, you have so much potential, but you just can't seem to fulfill it. And I feel like all Gen X kids got that, but I seem to have gotten it a lot. So anyway, I grew up feeling really dumb because the only barometer for being smart was whether or not you did well in school. There was nothing about, you were not smart if you skated well or skated hard or played music or did any other things I did. If you were a creative person, like there was nothing else. And so my only barometer pointed to the fact that I was dumb. What I didn't find out for several years, basically late in high school, I applied to and got into like an alternative school. And that might sound fancy. The school was originally designed for teen moms, to be really clear. So I only got in because I was a kid in recovery, and the prereq for this school was that you had to have a full-time job. So school was 4 hours a day, and then I worked full-time at a gas station at the Chevron there in Texas, where I grew up. And so, but the interesting thing is that it was a work at your own pace school. So I didn't have to sit and like listen to teachers talk at me for 50 minutes per class, right? I just got to sit down and do my work. And I went, I should pull my transcripts out and show you, but like I went from like a 1 point something to a 3.876, somewhere right around there, graduated really quickly. So something happened. I was like, oh, wait a minute, I'm not dumb. Like I can do the work. It was just the way that they were trying to make me do the work for the last, 10 or 11 years did not suit me. And so that was my first kind of experience understanding that people learn in different ways. And so, but I had already like adopted this belief about myself, which was, I'm not smart. I'm not a smart person. Obviously not a great setup, for living life. So I didn't bother going to college. It was not on my radar at all because I had such a hard time in middle school and high school. I just thought, man, I'm just going to go get to work. And so I did. And over the years, if I look back and I think about like all of the moments that were like really big moments, really like affirming moments, they were all basically trying to prove that I was not stupid, right? So landing amazing skating tricks when I was a kid, or running my first ultra, or starting to work at Stanford, or starting a company like Stoked and doing well. All of these things were moments just to prove that I'm not an idiot, that I wasn't dumb, that I wasn't a loser. And but those are the moments that I identify as like kind of key like turning points for me. And so I say that, and then, it makes it sound like, oh, I figured it out. And now I have like self-confidence and self-esteem. Not true at all. I tend to believe that like self-confidence or self-esteem, at least for me, is a fairly leaky bucket, right? Like it requires me to fill it up over and over and over again. And I'm not a guy that went to therapy once and thought, oh, I've uncovered this thing and now it's solved. I've been doing work for years. I've been going to therapy for a long time. I've been doing 12-step work for a few decades. I've done all kinds of work, sat in meditation and done retreats, and I journal every day. I do all the things, right? Yet it still feels like I forget that I can be smart, or that I can be creative, or that I can be talented, or that people appreciate the work I do. I forget it all the time. I feel like that the character in Memento. Like I need to get it like tattooed on my body so that I'm like, oh yeah. And so I just wanted to say that, like, if you grew up feeling like you weren't a smart person, I'm sorry, because it's a gnarly setup for life. It's really, really tough. And I hate that for you. And B, if you're anything like me, the work that you're going to have to do is not kind of a one and done thing, but it kind of is starting. I mean, I'm 51 and it's starting to feel like this is going to be like a lifelong process in order for me to like, stay with this idea that I'm valuable. And the second part of that, my coffee was getting cold. The second part of that is that my value is not all based on merit, right? Like, and this is like, man, this is where it gets a little more therapeutic, right? But like, I also need to understand I am lovable, and I'm respected and I'm accepted purely because I'm human, purely because I'm Parker, not because of what I can do, not because of what I can do for you or do to impress you or anything like that. It is my birthright to be accepted and to be respected. I know there's a lot of people out there that don't feel that way, and I don't care about those people, and I'm not interested in hanging out with them. But that's the other half of this, and so these two things like are work to be done for me, and I don't know if you can connect with that. I don't know if you relate to this idea, but like it has felt like swimming upstream. I know a lot of people. I get to work with a lot of really smart people. And I feel so lucky to, and they make me smarter, and they're always, the great thing is they're smart and kind, and they're very accepting, but they don't seem to be swimming upstream in the same way that I had to swim upstream. I'm sure that they had their own problems and their own issues and their own things to face. Every human being does. But I think maybe that theirs were a little bit different. They knew that they were smart people. They knew that they were capable people. Because they had a different experience growing up and they had a different experience in early education. So anyway, I mean, I don't know if that's helpful or not, but I just like, it's been coming up a lot for me lately, like this idea that I grew up thinking I was stupid. I learned I wasn't later on, but that wasn't enough, the intellectual understanding, like to really integrate it. I've had to continue to do this work and to continue to remind myself or be reminded by others that I'm smart and capable and accepted and respected and lovable. And the cool thing about that, man, is that like my ability to do good work and to serve others like skyrockets. And so I think that that's maybe the most important part is like when I remember who I really am and I'm not operating from that old default story or whatever it is about being stupid. When I remember who I am, I'm capable of so much more. And that means I get to serve people at a whole other level. And that's my mission. And it's also like feels the best. It feels really good. It feels really exciting. So that's it for today. I hope you connected with that. And if you didn't, man, that's good too, because maybe that means you didn't grow up like I did. So anyway, we'll see you guys soon.